Hello there everyone and welcome back. I want to play more with the Kaoyang type of style, especially since I kind of did myself a disservice and caused my own loss, I feel like, with the Protector fleet. Since I didn't really use my experimental railgun as aggressively as I should have, never mind the fact that there was an opportunity for the Custodian's bombers to also hit that tomb ship. I just tried to be proactive to kind of catch them off guard was the thought process there. Since really, a Necron opponent should be holding those star pulses just because of how powerful they can be at destroying seeker missiles and bombers, while not really doing a whole lot of damage to the hull of a ship. Hell, yeah, I would argue it's not even worth trying to use on the shields even though it would do full damage to them, so that was more of a misplay on my opponent that actually worked out well for him given the circumstances. The idea was to launch the bombers before they had a chance to react, hopefully with how close I was. But even then, just killing that one tomb ship I almost would feel like would give me victory just because of how close it was to dying. But I'll go back to that another time. Let's play around with some Space Wolves. I don't know if there were any other chapters that were recommended for Space Marines. I know I've been playing around a little bit. I prefer, Iron Hands and the Ultramarines, but in this case, I'm going to fool around with the Daring 6 cruiser fleet, one of which is a carrier ship to kind of help screen for torpedoes a tiny bit, and provide a tiny bit of vision due to my limited reach. Because even if I were to make this a torpedo cruiser, I don't even think it would be possible to get any kind of... I'm just making sure I have the right one here. Yeah, it's not even possible to get a hunter even if I downgrade it. So, it's daring because vision is incredibly limited. It was back... If you ever watched my legendary attempt with the Azuyani, I hinted at using the Augur Disruptor Bomb specifically against the Space Marines since they rely... the 6 cruiser fleet didn't really have any vision, especially if they had a carrier ship. The Lance variant of the 6 cruiser fleet would be able to get a frigate, but if they have a carrier ship instead, that's not true anymore, and Augur Disruptor Bomb is incredibly impactful there, even for the Azuyani, which are the most visible of all the Eldari type of fleets, so I didn't get to experiment with it as much as I liked. Surprisingly. Surprisingly I used it once against Foy Weaver, I think, and didn't really commit to it too much, but it has promise there, I feel like, still, even with my limited practice. But with that said, with the sale going on, and I think the player base is quite a notable increase. I think we're almost at... I alt-tabbed. That was probably a terrible idea. I was going to look at Steam charts to see how many players we had currently, but I think we were getting close to 1,000 players. Most of which are probably on the single player portion, but hopefully we can get ourselves a nice diverse type of matches. And ideally not really snowball type of matches at that, which is very prone to happen with torpedoes if my opponent is not prepared for them or dodging them. Okay, so we are dealing with Eldari right away, and it's not a brand new opponent even though I don't recognize the name. Their ranking would suggest maybe I might have a good time here, since with Imperial Navy, if you see my recent Corsair matches with my Imperial Navy, you know I like to try and rush them down a little bit. And with the Space Marines having additional speed, that is even more so. Hell, I even had a recent match against Space Marines where it was kind of the same situation, where I was the Eldari fleet and getting run down pretty well against I forget how many cruisers it was, to be honest, but still. It was an awkward exchange and I have possibility to do it here. And all the objectives are in the middle of the map. I am seriously wondering if I want to recklessly boost. That is what I'm wondering. I do have a carrier ship to deal with any Void Stalkers incredibly well, at least their bombers. But the only downside is I have really crappy shield strength. That is the one big liability. A Void Stalker normally would have a lot of trouble getting critical hits if it's firing on its own, because most of these cruisers have 400 shields, and the Pulsars do just barely over that, so they almost never get an opportunity to critically hit with their Pulsars. That is not really true with these cruisers, and that terrifies me. because random RNG is most likely to screw me over if I'm not careful. Especially if my opponent is going to double Void Stalker. There's a good chance they can focus one of these ships down, but if I can rush it down, that's still pretty good. Armor shields? I don't think that's worth it. It maybe negates one pulsar shot, but it doesn't seem worth it. But what the heck are good alternatives? Emission Anticipator is useless. Armor piercing not needed. Extra critical boarding assault. Only thing I could think of is maybe being able to be more aggressive, perhaps with the shields. But I do have Disruption overcharged, and that will open up a lightning strike if I ever hit. So maybe I stick with that. Stasis bomb would be nice. Disruption bomb could be amazing. Nope. I want Emperor's Tarot there. I did not pay attention to the clock, silly me. But I do have a stasis bomb if I can get close enough. And I want to listen for audio cues.
I am listening.
If my opponent's smart enough, but they could have already boosted one in that distraction.
Hold course.
I am watching and listening.
Where shall we strike?
And I wonder if I even want to launch fighters, because I'm going to be going that direction.
Give us purpose.
And when I recall them, they'll probably get... I'll be able to board them back pretty quickly, without really much downtime.
We stand ready.
So I don't sadly have Emperor's Tarot, which may not be a terrible thing on its own. It's just a nice convenience. So that looks like a Void Stalker there.
To where we are needed.
Now I gotta be very ready to minimize the damage as much as I can on the hull.
The enemy.
We know the Void Stalker's there. There's probably two. I don't want to say that's another Void Stalker.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
But I'm wondering if I boost. Because getting aggressive is a big deal. Actually, let me boost with the ones in back.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Huh, interesting. A scanner pulse.
All power to engines. Show us the enemy.
Bit ballsy, but it might restrict them where they go a bit.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Now, I just want to pay attention to when they start shooting. That's probably going to be the most important thing. Oh my god, the gambit paid off some.
I am listening. At your command.
You have seized a strategic area.
That I was not expecting in the slightest.
Hold course.
But I don't think that might be foolish to try and go after him, if I'm honest.
I am listening.
I have more speed than them. The simple fact of the matter is with these boosters.
Give us purpose.
And I can grab points much faster because of it.
Show us the enemy.
I am burning all my combustion gauge. Let's not get too carried away.
We stand ready.
And also, let's see. They do have the Spirit Crystal lenses, and they have Environmental Energy Drain, so someone's not confident in their ability to move around.
Engines engaged. Give us purpose. Full speed.
Okay, get this thing protected.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas.
Now get in there and punish them, because
I am listening.
I can run them down pretty well. I just did a terrible job using my combustion
The
gauge.
enemy has seized a strategic area.
At your command. To where we are needed.
So close to. But thankfully, point defense is going to be helpful here. Gonna shoot down most of them,
The enemy.
I'm hoping.
To where we are needed.
And if I can run them down, it helps.
Repositioning.
I just wish I had launched the fighters a little bit further out.
Hold course. Show us the enemy. At your command. Give us purpose. Underway.
We know where the cruisers are out in the middle of nowhere, so...
Give us purpose. To where we are needed.
Combustion gauge is about to come back. Alright, so I know where they're at.
Full speed.
Can we continue to pursue them? Because bombers are going to be a little bit of a burden, but I can launch fighters
I am listening.
proactively to an extent.
Where shall we strike? Give us purpose.
Now let's try and restrict
Your
them.
command. Show us the enemy. Engines engaged.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get it, sadly. I'm close, but not enough.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic
Oh,
points.
I'm convenient there.
Where shall we strike? At your command.
And also I have boring torpedoes, so let's use this.
Strategic areas.
Give us purpose. Engines engaged. We stand ready.
The
Kill
enemy
these things
has seized
quickly,
a strategic
ideally,
area.
although I'm doing a bad job with my boarding.
Hold course. Repositioning.
Grab the points, murder them,
I am listening.
and ideally, with their bombers down,
Boarding course.
Punch them.
Damage. To where we are needed.
I called arms when I didn't mean to, dang it.
Listening. Enemy in sight.
But we're doing good now. I am going to lose a bunch of objectives, but I can ram you now.
Moving to position. All power
And that's
to
going to
engine.
lose all his crew.
Boarding caused critical damage.
Yeah, my opponent's not sure how to control their fleet the best, but that's about to die. Let's at least try and kill this.
Engines engaged. We stand ready.
Drifting Hulk there.
Repositioning. I am listening.
And get the rest of my fleet going, because I did lose control of this one ship, which can grab this objective.
To where we are needed.
And sadly, I did not get the boring torpedoes on the frigate, which would have been nice.
All power to engines. Where shall we strike? Hold course.
Alright, go for ramming speed.
Underway.
Someone's gotten scared.
Show us the enemy.
Although with the drifting Hulk, let's actually
Where
kill
we
that.
are needed. All power to engines.
Keep hunting this thing down, ideally. And probably focus the engines might be nice too. Because I have shields now.
Your command.
You have seized a strategic area.
Show us the enemy.
I did get the final bit of boarding. I think I even got the ram in,
Be denied.
which killed the flagship.
Give us purpose. Repositioning.
So that's pretty good. That hurts their firepower a little bit. I wish I had done it a little bit better though.
Show us the enemy.
They're gonna hide in the gas cloud. That's fine. I'm doing a terrible job controlling this fleet. But
You
with
have
half their fleet
accumulated
gone,
25% of strategic points.
okay.
Full speed.
Well, the Eclipse is gone. That was the one that I got the fire assault.
Underway.
Now let's grab these points quickly. I'm gonna have a point advantage. They lost half their fleet versus only me losing a third of my fleet.
We stand ready.
And I still have fighters and bomber potential. At least to reveal them or at least chase them.
Halt advance.
But with them all being carriers, that's not easy for me to do.
Show
And
us the
actually,
enemy.
I want to kill that with bombers, with that said. Because they can always reactivate that sometime later.
You have seized a strategic area.
Where shall we strike?
Now I have the point advantage. And pretty soon, that will be negated.
Bombardment. Engines engaged.
They still have a frigate, so a scanner pulse could do something.
You have accumulated.
And I don't know what I want to do
50%
with you.
of
Probably
strategic points.
just get ready to intercept any points they try and grab, if I were to be serious. Do I boost? I think I do to put the pressure on them, because I can easily use this gas cloud. They only have 2 eclipses left, which can do some hull damage, but they don't have a maelstrom, which is a big deal for their follow-up attack.
Purpose.
And I wonder where they're hiding.
To where we are needed.
Well, I'm gonna be left.
Where shall
Okay.
we strike?
Well, that explains that. That's fine.
Underway.
It's kind of the big risk of being spread out like that, but
Moving to position.
let's try and grab the points.
Show us the enemy.
I should have been fine with 3 points, I suppose, because now they're gonna... Actually, if they split up, then that's a good opportunity for me.
Moving to position.
They might have to split up if they want to get these points quickly and effectively,
Repositioning.
which they aren't doing right now, and that reveals their ships,
I am listening.
which can work incredibly well.
Underway.
Although, honestly, I should have made this the flagship back here, probably.
To where we are
Since
needed.
boring torpedoes are
The
pretty
enemy
good.
is seizing one of your strategic areas.
Full speed. Give us purpose.
So I am going to get the lead momentarily in another, like,
stand
minute, 30
The
seconds
enemy has
about.
seized a strategic area.
And the frigate's gone to help with that some.
I am listening. I am listening. Enemy in sight. Enemy in sight.
You have seized.
Probably was a mistake to
strategic
launch
area.
torpedoes, but it was only a single torpedo anyway.
Positioning.
I want them to force, maybe be tempted to back off a bit.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas.
Because I have this gas cloud here to conceal myself. I'm going to have all my fleet together, and with that knowledge, I know where they're at. They are not going to be able to grab these 3 points anytime
The enemy
soon.
has seized a strategic
It's just
area.
sadly had to burn all my combustion gauge, which slows me down a tiny bit. Yep, that forces them back. I can get
The
ready
enemy
to
has
advance pretty soon, but
75%
I'm going
of
to give them a
strategic
little bit of
points.
time first.
You have accumulated 75% of strategic
And I heard the
points.
falls maneuver. And I'm curious of watching this torpedo get if it gets shot.
We stand ready.
Because I think I want to do is just launch torpedoes up there.
Give us purpose.
And just play cautious. I have the point lead after all.
Engaged.
I don't know why I'm trying to grab 4 points at the moment, but I do need to be ready and listen for them.
Show us the enemy. At your command. Give us purpose.
Okay, so they're down here somewhere.
Hold course. Enemy in sight. Where shall we strike? That is impossible. Halt! Advance!
Alright.
Feel our might. Engines engaged.
Now let's actually get this one ship in here.
Repositioning. Heavy damage registered. Hold course. Show us the enemy. Full speed. Give us purpose. Obliterate that target.
Alright, so maybe I shouldn't be going after a dang generator because my opponents are doing a terrible job using the generator.
The enemy is close to victory by strategic points.
But we could kill off the one crew there.
Listening.
The flagship's about to die in a moment, but
Boarding successful.
that should seal the deal there.
You are close to victory by strategic points.
Can I kill the other ship? I would have liked actually to kill the frigate. There. Crew is gone. You're going to self-destruct. Actually, let me just kill this. If it dies, it's not going to self-destruct. A little more tense than it probably needed to be. I let my 4th cruiser get sniped for free, basically, since I wasn't really paying attention for it. Aww. Saying Space Marines are OP, yet you did like the simplest, uninteractive type of fleet. You should have been moving with your dang Corsairs all this time. I can't take you seriously, because you could not even use the Corsairs properly. I am sorry. Alright, more... Well, we got orcs to play up against, and this is... Well, that's the reward portrait, so I don't even know what sub-faction they are. But I should go in with the preparation, the mindset that they are probably evil sons, but we should be keep in mind that blood axes could be a thing too. So I want to be prepared for that eventuality. I do have fighters to help a little bit. Torpedoes aren't going to really be the best because they don't really have the wide spread. I would actually like to fire these torpedoes to get a sense of where they are, but without that spread it makes it so much more difficult to do. But I might chance it anyway, since after all I do have 6 torpedo charges to take advantage of. We will see. And if those torpedoes can actually connect for later on the engagement, hell, I may just, well, boarding torpedoes will be pretty good. Tricky to kill off their crew, but I am going to be wanting to stay at range most of the time. And thankfully, with my speed, I can do that. Do I even bother with Emperor's Tarot? No, I don't think I do, but a beacon is important. Stasis Bomb can help, but also Plasma Bomb could be good. This is tricky. Well, I'm going to have faith that they do not have the blood axes. And then I'm going to have... And again, I should position myself in case they are blood axes. Nope, they are not. So good thing I did not prepare for that. And actually, do I want to go after the deck or not? One thing I'm curious about, go after the deck or no? And this looks like 5 battleships.
I am listening.
So 5 battleships with mega cannons. Seems simple enough. So let's try and reveal them, and maybe it opens up possibilities for boarding torpedoes. Actually, I should boost just so I could grab these 2 objectives and start working on the left of the field. Since we know where they already are, so I'm going to forfeit these 2 objectives. I think this is the plan. And at least get a point lead. At least use it for a point lead while I grab the other 2 points, and that hopefully will give me some breathing room. Definitely a good amount of distance at least.
I am listening.
And if I can spot them, I'll look for a possibility of hitting with some boarding torpedoes.
Engines engaged.
I did not pay attention to possible fighters though.
Underway.
Alright, start turning around.
At your command.
Sadly, I don't think these Space Marine ships have the same mobility as they did at Armada 1. They used to be basically, what, a tier higher? Almost equivalent to, like, the light cruisers of Chaos and Imperial Navy, but
Enemy in sight.
I think that was nerfed a bit. Huh, okay, so they have torpedoes.
Show us
I can
the
rest
enemy.
easy on that there a bit. What about upgrades? Death Skulls,
I am
torpedoes.
listening.
Alright.
To where we are needed.
Do I even need to bother? Because I don't think I need to bother too much dodging these, and I won't have my fighters anyway. Shock attack gun isn't going to do much. They do have 4 charges, so let's keep that in mind.
We stand ready.
And actually, let me save the boosters, because my keep in mind, these strike cruisers go the same speed as the damn torpedoes when I boost, so let me at least have my point defense actually contribute to shooting these down.
Where shall we strike?
I'm going to be separated a bit, so let's make this quick. They don't have the slowdown, though. That's the one benefit I got going here.
At your command.
But we'll slow them down. We are going to take some long-range fire, but
Engines engaged.
You have
there, that
seized
worked
the
out well.
strategic area.
Well, that is odd.
For where we are needed.
I don't know what to make of that, but okay.
We stand ready. Show
And
us
actually,
the
let's
enemy.
spread out the sap damage a bit.
Halt, advance.
Because saps are hitting me, and I want to make sure that I minimize the hull damage.
Where shall we strike?
It's a little tricky to do with Space Marines, because I hinted at it before, they only have 200 shield hit points. But if they burn torpedoes recklessly, that's fine.
Moving to
My
position.
biggest strength is my mobility.
We
When
stand
do I
ready.
fire torpedoes, though?
You have seized a strategic area.
I could kind of fire torpedoes now on the flagship.
I am listening.
Going to be a bit of an awkward angle, though.
Give us purpose.
I worry a little bit they're just going to get shot down recklessly, but especially since I'm flying away, so it gives them that much more time for them to deal with the torpedoes. I am just curious on how they respond. Because I would hate if that hits the celestial body.
We stand ready.
Wasting a bunch of my boring torpedoes for nothing. Nope, we're clear.
Enemy in sight. Show us the enemy.
And I want to get lock on maybe to help with shooting at range a little bit.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic
Because I'm not going to be able to
areas.
engage this freely. Get some boring damage will also always be nice. Yep, they seem to know what they're doing. It's a bit of a weird fleet,
At your
so
command.
let's just take advantage of our superior mobility then.
Underway.
I'm just wondering how this took
Boarding
damage,
successful.
because it isn't from fighters.
Our wrath cannot be denied.
There was a critical hit of some kind there, of note.
I am listening. Boarding course
In all
critical.
honesty, those should have been bombers, but I think it's better for me to reveal these frigates.
You have accumulated 25
And be able to start working on 'em.
Hold course.
I'm not going to try boarding. I have the celestial body to help some.
Engines engaged. At your command. Where shall we strike? Hold course.
Alright.
Moving to position.
More boring damage.
Give us purpose.
I actually am going to use cold arms this time to help mitigate that.
Underway. Give us purpose. Show us the enemy.
Now,
To where
I don't
we
have
are
really the
needed.
firepower to do damage. I would love to lock on to increase my range, though.
Main batteries fire.
Yeah, and sadly I have nowhere to really
Setting
hide the
priority
best.
target.
But
I am
a
listening.
plasma bomb might be pretty good here. I just gotta start
Underway.
getting damage in, and ideally some boarding.
We stand ready.
Well, if you want to fire your torpedoes, that's good.
At your command.
They are spraying out their fleet, though, so
Advance. Engines engaged.
let's try and take advantage of this.
Give us purpose.
I probably could have used a plasma
All
bomb there, but
power
hey.
to engines.
I have gas
Hold
clouds.
course.
I can dodge the torpedoes relatively well.
Show us the enemy. All power to
And again, I have the speed of their torpedoes.
moving to position. Thunderhawk
I did burn all my
bombardment.
combustion gauge though. That's sad. I'm a little disappointed by that, but
Full speed.
let's see about killing these frigates. They're gonna give me free targets. I'm gonna take the free targets.
Hold course.
Especially since my opponent's getting reckless, or at least getting impatient.
Obliterate that target.
I probably should have kept lock-on available, but
Where we are needed.
I'm okay.
I am
The
listening.
battleships are in a bad spot right now.
Engines in
They are going to get like all their points. At least they're going to have a point advantage, but keep an eye on the score.
enemy.
I should not be trying to fight them. I really should launch some boarding torpedoes on you though, because again, I'm strongest with them separated. But there's two battleships there, so it's probably not worth it.
All power to engines. At your command.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas.
And are these frigates? They are frigates, so
Stand ready.
I know what I'm going
The
after in a
enemy
moment.
has seized a strategic area. The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas.
Make this a little difficult for them, because I have full combustion gauge available.
The enemy has seized a strategic area. You have seized a strategic area.
And we know there's a frigate over here because it has not moved, so let's get ready to play with it.
The enemy has accumulated 25% of strategic points.
At your command. I am listening.
They are spread out. I can fight this battleship.
Enemy in sight. Moving to position. Where shall we strike?
And you don't have tracked cannons of sorts.
That is impossible. Hold course. Show us the enemy.
You have accumulated 50% of strategic points.
Hold
Alright.
defense. To where
Put
we
that
are
on
needed.
fire.
Teleport attack successful.
Let that just melt away, although I would have liked to have killed off those frigates.
Teleport strike. Underway.
And just minimize the damage as much as I
I am
can.
listening. Our wrath cannot be denied.
Gotta get grouped up pretty quickly. There's your call to arms, you slowpoke.
Hold advance.
Now,
Give us
oh,
purpose.
I want to bomb that thing with some with dumbfire torpedoes, but I don't think it's a good idea.
To where we are needed. Full speed. Engines engaged.
Bombers did their thing. I probably should have done honor the chapter.
Repositioning. Boarding successful. Moving
And
to
I have
position.
shield armor to at least take these hits pretty well.
Boarding caused critical damage. Our wrath cannot be denied.
They just conceded. Maybe not an exciting match, I admit, but it's a weird match at that. They did not have mega cannons, which are terrifying because of the high critical hit chance against me. And I had the superior mobility, and I tried to take advantage of it. How would that have played out, though, I wonder? Well, we basically crippled one of their battleships right away. There was enough boarding damage there for it to at least get heavily, was it the heavy troop casualty step? So that should have been useless. It would have been isolated, and there would have been a window for me to pick them off later. I just don't know how interesting that would be. But should I have honestly been afraid of the torpedoes is the question, since there currently is a bug with the orc damage torpedoes that doesn't penetrate through the armor like all the others do. And that is a big deal, but they were also death skulls, I think, which allowed their boarding damage to do hull damage to me. And they didn't even have the slows to their saps either, which was an odd thing. I don't know what to make of that. And this is the wrong fleet for one. What am I trying to look at? Oh yeah, the torpedoes and armor. They're supposed to pierce through armor, as opposed what the text suggests here, but It's not accurate, or at least not working as it should. And hell, they probably could do just as good boarding damage to me as I could to them. So maybe I was playing a little bit too passive with my Honor of the Chapter and my own boarding potential. I could have just flew in there and crippled some of their ships. And a lot of it probably was down to the fact that they may have had a tractor cannon, which they didn't honestly have, I don't think, or I don't recall ever seeing it. Alright, so we're going to get something that's hopefully a little more aggressive. Although, keep in mind, Space Marines, outside their battle barges, aren't really all that great at doing damage directly. Sure, the torpedoes at least allow for a possibility for me to kill ships, but their macro cannons are terrible, and the bombardment cannon, while great, with the poor broadside weaponry, they're not really going to get through shields the best, which is a lot of the reason why I'm using disruption bombs with this fleet, even though I have the, disruption overcharge. Disruption overcharge ideally is to make it so the shields never come back up, while the disruption bomb is to get rid of, waiting almost a full minute before the shields actually go down. It really is that bad. Because each one of these, that's 36 damage just on the macro cannon alone for each cruiser, and then 45 damage assuming the bombardment cannon hits the cruiser. And when just the cruiser alone has 400 shields, never mind the extra shields that a Grand Cruiser or battleship will have, I am spending a lot of time taking damage as opposed to getting hit by damage. Because an Imperial Navy macro cannons, if somehow they fired a full barrage, is easily doing 150-ish shield damage per cruiser. Never mind the threat of ramming at that kind of close of a range too is a big deal. Now, since I don't really have vision, it's again a question if I want to spread out and aggressively grab these points. I know I said way back when Armada 2 released, that this fleet was going to be playing more like Eldari, I think, than any other fleet. Because I'm basically just as fast, if not more mobile, than Eldari in a lot of circumstances. Just due to the convenience of being able to turn on and off my combustion gauge. But we'll see what happens. My opponent's just gonna see me coming. Interesting fleet, those are frigates. It is an honest question if I want to destroy the deck. Because I probably should with the Colexis Assassin. Nope, that's the wrong direction. I have the groups all wrong, so what does this tell me? 3 battleships and a bunch of frigates. Which I'm kind of okay with. It's an unusual fleet to say the least, but since they're not solid running, it does mean we're dealing with a less experienced opponent.
Repositioning.
So this might be a relatively easy time for me. It might be.
Where we are needed.
Let's just grab the points and start taking advantage of it.
You have seized a strategic area.
Actually, let me try grab this point. See if we can snipe these frigates at all.
Seized a strategic area.
Actually, I should try and reveal. Are these the frigates? No, this is actual cruisers here.
I am listening.
Cruisers or whatever the hell they are anyway. And let's try and regroup my fleet with that said. Well, actually, I don't think I want to regroup. Because splitting up actually worked out well, I want to say, in the Orc fleet. Or in our Orc match. It's just a bit awkward.
Give us purpose.
Because even now, I wonder if I should have been more aggressive. Their boarding damage is almost on par with mine just because they have more boarding assault actions. They're just going to be almost impossible. They're going to have an incredibly hard time boarding me.
Give us purpose.
So what was I really afraid of, if I were to be honest, as far as not getting aggressive? Tracked cannons the big one. Mega cannons, of course, but we knew early on they weren't using mega cannons, so I don't feel like that is a justifiable excuse. And can't reveal the final cruiser. So interestingly, we have 2 lunars. I don't know what to make of this fleet. But there's another cruiser ship over here that I did not notice.
Enemy in sight. Repositioning.
Okay, can dodge these torpedoes easily enough.
Seized a strategic area. You have seized a strategic
I just want to board you and kill you off, ideally.
Enemy in sight. Hold course.
Oh, I thought that was my,
Successful teleport strike.
what was it? Hold position, or at least burn retros, rather. And they do have an Emperor. If not an Emperor, then a Grand Cruiser.
Full speed.
So gotta keep that in mind. You lost your shields, so it's just swap positions.
Engines engaged.
And see about doing... Yeah, okay, just reactivate the ship. That's fine by me.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Underway.
Actually, this thing's gonna take a bit of a beating. I think it's safe to say here, if you're just gonna leave it there to get boarded.
Enemy in sight. Show us the enemy. Underway.
Alright. Kill the frigates. You got your cold arms, but it's already too late.
Moving to position.
That burns your engines, so now I know what I'm gonna do to this poor sap.
I am listening.
I have not had much of a chance to fire torpedoes.
We stand ready.
And with cold arms, you're boring, or torpedoes in general, not all that effective.
Moving to position.
And I have the same speed as your assault ships.
Hold advance.
There, you are out of the fight.
Hold course. Give us purpose.
How aggressive do I get on this Emperor?
Redirecting.
I am going to take some damage.
Seizing one of your strategic areas.
Actually, let's just board.
Engines engaged.
Broadside boarding. I was thinking dumbfire torpedoes, but this is a little easier to do.
Show us the enemy. That is impossible.
Now,
Your command.
now that we did that, let's play with our dumbfire torpedoes, shall we?
Our wrath cannot be denied. Repositioning. I am listening.
Now, get out of the way.
Hold course.
Sadly, you cannot fire torpedoes. I would have loved you to have contribute.
You have accumulated 25%
Oh, I might hit myself here in a moment. Nope, we're golden.
Boarding caused critical damage.
We are golden. I just need repairs to come up now because of course I did use Honor the Chapter quite a bit.
New vector acknowledged. Boarding successful. We stand ready.
And that wasn't as good as a ram as it could be, but I could have just done broadside boarding. And the Emperor is going to lose his crew in a moment.
That is impossible.
And that's going to lose its morale. So let's try and kill a deck if it times out well. Yep.
Enemy in sight.
I am losing all the objectives, so let's not get complacent. Even though I have a substantial lead right now.
The enemy has seized a strategic area.
Let's do this again, shall we?
Show us the enemy. Repositioning.
Ah, that was a bad shot.
I am listening.
But the torpedoes still connect, so I'm still happy with it.
Begin repairs.
Now let's get a couple more boarding shots in.
Show us the enemy.
Bombers did not really do a lot of damage, sadly.
The enemy is seizing one of your strategic areas.
There. This is why I enjoy the torpedoes. I just need to play with Space Marines more to be able to fine-tune that and make it so much more painful
Where shall we strike?
for someone who at least is able to respond to that.
At your command.
Because it is kind of predictable to an extent to see me just rush in there.
Ready.
But Emperor is down
Give us
yet again.
purpose.
And now is the slow process. Well, never mind, they're making my work easy for me. time to grab objectives.
Halt advance.
I am in a very comfortable position right now.
Engines engaged.
You have seized a strategic area.
A bit of an odd fleet, but it wasn't really all that threatening. Yeah, again, it is a lower level fleet. No armor piercing ammo, but with a bunch of lunars, it's not like they could have done a lot of... They couldn't have benefited from the armor piercing rounds that greatly. But yeah, if I can spend some time to fine tune and just be more swifter on those torpedo runs, so that way I can blindly aim for those dumbfire torpedoes, that fleet can be devastating at killing ships instantly. Remember what I said at the very beginning of that match. My firepower with the macro weaponry is pitiful, but if I'm able to hit at least the battleships with torpedoes, that thing dies quickly. It just needs to be isolated, which is a lot of the reason why I like to play the objective game with something so mobile. Never mind the fact that we had all battleships and orcs, so spraying them out is important for that kind of maneuver.